We're taking you along as we cross the infamous Bay of Biscay. We're leaving from Ireland and explain just why this particular crossing is known to be a rough one. We capture a voyage from all angles, each wave and every discomfort during our 600 nautical mile battle with the wind there.
Sometimes the bad gets to you.
You may even get a little seasick, so hold on for the ride. Welcome to Sailing Jibsea. 2 years ago, we knew nothing about sailing, but took off from Canada with an urge for adventure. I'm Steph, this is Travis, and this is our home, Jibsea. We moved quickly and in a short time have made it down south and even crossed an ocean, but we still have a whole lot more of the world to see. Subscribe and join our life on the water. Good morning! It's bright and still a little bit foggy. Looks like the sun is trying to peek out. 7-something in the morning on the south coast of Ireland, and we are getting ready to make a break for it. We're about to start our 5-day passage, making our way all the way down to Spain. It's going to be quite interesting.
I was hoping.
Oh, fixing the deck wash.
Yeah, because our handle on the other one seized. Oh, we don't have a deck wash.
We decided to put the dinghy up on the deck for this passage, not because we think that it's not going to be able to hold up, but just mainly because we want to be able to see off the back when we have longer passages instead of flipping it up on the transom. Time to go. Day one. Midway through, calm little motor sail with some sunshine and a whole lot of contemplation on what we're going to do next.
So today it's kind of unsaleable, but we knew it was going to be unsaleable. So right now we're just motor sailing. We're trying to get past the shelf. The shelf is what causes the Bay of Biscay to be quite rough. Tomorrow we're supposed to get into 20 knots of wind, pretty much coming from the direction we want to be heading, so right on our nose. We're gonna head east potentially. I'm just trying to think, since we're motoring now, do I go far west to then make up that east that we're gonna have to do? Contemplating, no idea what to do. Because either way, tomorrow we're gonna get to a point where when the high winds come, we're gonna be pretty much at the shelf. And if we have to turn to east hard, we're gonna be like paralleling the shelf for 30 hours. So it could be quite uncomfortable.
As far as night shifts go, we had a really good first night. And last night was extra great because the moon was so bright, it lit up the entire water in front of us. So I didn't feel like I was just floating in the middle of the ocean at night in the pitch dark. It was very, very well lit, and it just made it a lot more pleasant and easier to stay awake. And then of course I get the best part, waiting for the sunrise. I had the moon on the starboard side, still very visible high up in the sky, and then on the port side, we had the sun coming up, so that was super nice. Yeah, the first couple of nights are always the hardest to adjust. We didn't even have dinner last night. I think we were just focused on kind of getting into the groove and getting a good night's sleep. So I just went to bed right at 8. But I'm glad that it was a good sail for our first night. We sailed all the way through, even though we were sailing pretty close into the wind, like 40 degrees. It was really light winds, 8 to 9 knots. So it was still pretty comfortable. I had a comfortable sleep. Travis still has a couple more hours of sleep before his shift is up. We just kept on our same old sleeping patterns for overnight passages. So he takes the 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift, and then I take the 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. When they're supposed to pick up later on today, and it could get interesting. So at least we got one night, or at least I got one night of good sleep. Travis, I think he's got some broken sleep as you saw, but yeah, hopefully he's able to get a a good sleep in for his last 2 hours of shift.
Dinner time. So Steph made up some chicken shepherd's pies for me and some beef pies for her. I just gotta reheat these things up. Borderline want to eat this whole thing. So we picked a pretty interesting weather window. We knew we were going to have a bit of heavier weather straight on the nose, and we were going to have to kind of sail east. And that's exactly what we're doing. But right now, we're kind of moving really quickly. We need to sail as slow as we can so we actually don't make any really easting. But right now, we got such a current pushing us back towards the UK. Like, I'm trying to keep it paced around 4 knots, just so we're gliding over these kind of sharp, steep waves. But what's happening is we're actually getting pushed back the other way. I wish we could have kept going, get past the shelf, get into open ocean so you don't get these really choppy seas. But it didn't happen. We ended up having to veer east, and now we're following the shelf. We're following where it's rough. So this is what it's like cooking in the galleon. Wavy seas. It's kind of fun. Still beating as hard as we can east. Today we're actually going a little bit south. We're going southeast. A little bit of southerly progress, but yeah, it is aggressive out here. And we still haven't made it across the shelf. And the shelf is what makes the Bay of Biscay very rough. Thousands of feet of water coming up to like 300-400 feet of water. Creates very crappy sea state, and we've literally been sailing right beside, like on the shelf almost the last 2 days straight, so it's been very uncomfortable. It looks like the weather's gonna lighten up and the waves and everything gonna shift to west northwest, and then that's when we're gonna start to really curve back and head towards where we're going. I was even thinking about pulling in over at Brest, which is now 70 or 80 miles off our port side here. So as you can see, this is where we started, this is where we're trying to go, and we've just gone this way. So now, hopefully it all shifts and we can start to go the right way. Steph's been down and out most of the trip, just kind of sleeping. She's feeling drowsy or uncomfortable most of the time. And last night, one of our standing riggings, the inner shroud, almost fell off. I didn't notice it until it only had like a couple threads left, so I had to run out and tighten it back up, which that was weird. Other than that, we're just hanging on, listening to the boat make a lot of creaks and moans and groans because it doesn't like this either. Guy's a mile away and I can't see him at all. Crazy. Somewhere there's a big ass ship. This we're in a shipping lane. I can't see shit. Yeah. Oh, right there. The middle one veered off quite. He's already well behind us, that's fine, but now it's this guy. That guy I gotta worry about. I'm sure they see me and everything, but it's terrifying. Like that other one, he passed less than half a mile ahead off our nose and I couldn't see him at all. I could hear his foghorn and I could smell the emissions off. Like I can smell it, but not fun. Just gotta watch out for these guys all night. Well, we lost the wind, but that means it's gonna start to veer. And of course, I'm kind of glad that the wind stopped. I needed a break. We were just getting hammered on for 2.5 days straight. No matter where I went, we were always nose to the wind. Now we're blessed with this beautiful sunset. Woo. Gorgeous sunset. Since we're motoring, we probably have to motor for about, I don't know, maybe 8 hours, I think. Which is good because we're gonna be motoring over that shelf. So there shouldn't be very much wind, I'm hoping, because I would like to motor over that shelf so we don't deal with any crazy waves. But where we ended up turning and heading straight south is right in the shipping lane. And there is so much shipping traffic on this path that we're on. So tonight, hopefully it's a nice night and we can actually see navigation lights, because for the last 2 nights, it's just been dead fog and you couldn't see more than half a mile out. Even today, most of today, but 2.5 days of complete misery. When you just get like a sunset like this, it's just, whoa, I don't know words. Like, you take the good with the bad out here, that's for sure. And sometimes the bad gets to you. It gets to you in a weird way too. Like just mentally and physically, it'll beat you down if you're just uncomfortable for that amount of hours. And you can just feel the boat not enjoying it either. And it's just like, oh. But then you get this. It's like, whoa, this is why we do it. Just hope that wind is gonna do what it says it's gonna do. And please, because tomorrow morning we got 20-something knots of wind. And I hope it's not on our nose. Like, please, be a beam or just after the beam. Like, I might put it after the beam and we might head somewhere else in Spain. We'll see. But we're still 2.5, 3 days out, so we went the long way. Wow, this tanker looks so cool. We also got the generator on and we're making some water. You gotta take the calm days when you can, make water. All right, we're on day 4 and the conditions are spicy. They were kind of spicy and shitty the last few days, but the waves were a lot smaller. But now we're 22 into the 20s with 3-meter seas. So it's exciting out there today. And we're still trying to sail, you know, upwind. Almost there. We just had some breakfast and now we're just pretty much gonna hold on. Whoa. Just gonna hold on for the rest of the day. Say something for the camera.
I'm alive.
She is alive, folks.
I'm alive, but these conditions are not fun.
She's just resting. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
I can't believe I seen that coming and I got that close.
very early morning hours of day 5, and it's a little bit more comfortable than it was yesterday. It was really hard to try to sleep before my night shift last night because it was very aggressive sounding. It literally sounded like everything was breaking, and there was just a bunch of aggressive noises that made it really hard to fall asleep. But I did fall asleep because I dreamt, and I'm a vivid dreamer as it is on a regular basis. But when we're on passage, it just gets even more intense and weird, the dreams. Last night, I had a dream that I was at my parents' house and I was sleeping there for the night on land, big house. I was on the 2nd floor and there was a windstorm, and it literally felt like the house was going to get broken and we were going to just lift up and fly away. The walls were shaking and everything. And I remember thinking to myself, is this normal? Because we're on land, and houses are supposed to be strong and be able to withstand wind, but I guess this is a pretty strong windstorm that it literally feels like the walls are shaking from side to side. And then there was a hull slap or something, a big noise down below in real life that woke me up for me to only realize that I was getting shaken all about in real life, which is why it translated into my dreams. And we were still on passage, so yeah, you really can't get away from it. You can't get away from the uncomfortabilities on passage even when you're sleeping. But yeah, like I said, it settled down a little bit now, so hopefully Travis is getting a little bit more of a comfortable sleep than I did. The sea state is still pretty big and messy, so we're just waiting for the winds to do what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to come from 300 degrees true, which means that we can start pointing a little bit more west more comfortably. They're at about 282 degrees true right now, because that means that we don't have to point as close into the wind to be able to round this point to get into Akaruna, which is where we're heading to, it looks like. We're sailing at about 60 degrees, so we don't want to have to go close into it any more than we are if we don't have to. And I'm kind of just testing it. Every so often I'll just shift us 2 degrees west, see how we sail that way, see how comfortable it is, and if it's not comfortable, I'll just put us back, because we still have a little bit of distance between now and when we have to actually make our west to round this point. So we're going to wait it out, and hopefully it does what it's supposed to do, versus beating into it like we have been, seems like all passage.
Feeling pretty dead, but the sun came out and we're just motoring our last few hours before we head into an anchorage that we're going to stop at. We're not going to make it all the way to Akaruna port, but we're within the Akaruna province, I believe, going into a town called Kadira.
Vigo is where we were originally intended. That's why we went to the most southern port in Ireland, because we thought
Straight shot down.
that'd be a straight shot down, best line, get out to sea. But nope, that weather window turned out to be a little different.
This little bit of a motor break is nice for us as we coast into the anchorage, because it's been quite rough.
Yeah, it's been a rough sail.
Everything's salty, everything's dirty.
Yeah.
We want to shower. And we didn't want to arrive into Akaruna port at night, which is why we're stopping 5 hours earlier in Kadira.
Yeah, we'll probably get there closer to sunset and then tidy the boat up and
Tidy ourselves up.
clean ourselves up. I know we stink. We only had what? No, I think we've had 2 showers.
2 showers in 5 days. That's
Not
pretty
bad.
good.
It's not bad. But we're used to showering daily. So, yeah. Then we had a couple salt leaks, so some of our clean clothes got salty. That's a bummer. It was a pretty rough sail. It was like we were, besides yesterday that we had to put the wind behind us, or at a beam at least, we were sailing at 30 to 40 degrees the entire trip. So, you know, it was a sporty ride.
And sloshy big seas at that, so.
Yeah, sloshy seas. So we can see now. We can see land now, so that's cool. Oh, I'm so tired.
107 hours later and an additional 595 challenging nautical miles under our keel, we've made it to Spain, safe and sound, and with time to spare before a gorgeous sunset. Another milestone has been reached for our crew of 2. Though our passage didn't go exactly how we planned it, we'll show you next week why it ended up being a blessing in disguise. We're so excited for this new chapter in our sailing adventure. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on what's to come. Special thanks to our patrons for making these videos possible. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Friday.